Have you ever felt like you were just another option in someone's life? Like no matter what you do, you're overlooked, undervalued, and dismissed. You pour your energy into proving your worth, showing up, giving more, but it's as if they're blind to everything you bring to the table. It stings, doesn't it? The late-night efforts, the conversations where you tried to explain yourself, the quiet moments where you questioned, why am I not enough? It's maddening to feel invisible. But what if I told you that the problem isn't in who you are, it's in how you're showing up? People often treat us like options not because we lack value, but because we've stopped treating ourselves like priorities. Here's the truth. Becoming their only choice isn't about begging for attention, overgiving, or losing yourself in someone else's life. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that's so magnetic, so undeniable, that they can't ignore you. This isn't about playing games. It's about embracing your power and creating a life that commands respect without you having to ask for it. This guide will walk you through 8 life-changing shifts to help you transform from being overlooked to being unforgettable. These aren't manipulative tricks. They're principles rooted in confidence, growth, and self-mastery, philosophies grounded in Stoicism. You'll not only reshape how others see you, but more importantly, you'll transform how you see yourself. So here's my question to you. Are you ready to stop chasing people who don't value you? Are you ready to become someone they fear losing? Someone whose absence feels like a void they can't ignore? What comes next isn't about them. It's about you. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll have the tools to become the person they can't stop thinking about. You'll reclaim your power, demand respect, and finally feel what it's like to be seen for who you truly are. And the best part, it all starts with you. Let's begin. 1. The turning point. Take back your power. Have you ever noticed that when someone pulls away, you instinctively try harder to pull them back? You send the texts. You make yourself available. You overextend, hoping, praying that they'll finally see you. But what happens instead? The harder you try, the further they drift. Why? Because desperation repels. It tells them that you need them to feel complete, and that energy isn't attractive. The moment you place your happiness in someone else's hands, you give away your power. But here's the hard truth. No one respects what's handed to them too easily. The turning point begins with this simple realization. Your power has always been yours. You just forgot how to hold it. You think about the last time you admired someone, truly admired them. Was it because they were chasing approval, bending to everyone's expectations, or constantly trying to prove their worth? Of course not. You admired their strength, their independence, their ability to exist unapologetically as themselves. That's what you need to become. Right now, ask yourself, who do I want to be? Not for them, not for anyone else, just for you. If someone can't see your value, that's not your burden to carry. Your worth isn't diminished by their inability to recognize it. But if you don't start respecting yourself, if you don't demand more from life, you'll keep being treated like an afterthought. Let's reframe this. What if, instead of chasing someone's attention, you turned inward? What if you chose to stop proving your worth and started living it? Every time you center your life around someone else, you abandon yourself. And that abandonment breeds resentment toward them and toward yourself. But when you step back and say, I will no longer chase what isn't mine, something shifts. Imagine pulling away, not out of spite, but out of respect for yourself. You reclaim your time. You reclaim your energy. Suddenly, they begin to notice. Why? Because the value of anything increases when it's no longer readily available. That's human psychology. You don't need to shout to be heard. Silence speaks louder than words. Pull back. Step into yourself. Let them feel your absence. And while they're wondering where you went, you'll be building the version of yourself that doesn't just demand respect but commands it. This is what Stoicism teaches us. Control what you can control. You can't change how others treat you, but you can change how you respond. Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Are you ready to step into that strength? To stop begging for attention and start owning your space? Because here's the truth. You don't need anyone's validation to feel whole. The moment you stop seeking their approval, you become a magnet for respect and admiration. Let them feel the loss of your presence. Let them wonder why they didn't see your value before. But don't do this for them. Do it for yourself. You deserve more than being someone's second choice. You deserve to be seen, heard, and cherished. And that starts when you take back your power. So let me ask you again. Are you ready to stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself? Say it with me now. I am rare. I am radiant. I am undeniable. Write it in the comments. Declare it. Because today is the day you decide to reclaim your worth and never settle for being overlooked again. 2. Choose yourself first every single day. How many times have you bent over backward for someone who barely noticed? How often have you sacrificed your time, your energy, and your peace just to prove your worth to someone who treated you like you were optional? Be honest with yourself. How many moments have you spent waiting for someone to see you while forgetting to see yourself? It happens so easily, doesn't it? You think, if I just do more, if I just give a little extra, maybe they'll realize how much I care. Maybe they'll choose me. But here's the bitter truth. Every time you compromise yourself to gain someone's approval, you send a silent message to the world, my worth is negotiable. And worse, you send that message to yourself. Think about that for a moment. You wake up each day and decide, whether consciously or not, how much you value yourself. Every boundary you set or refuse to set speaks to your sense of worth. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you chip away at your own foundation. Here's where the shift happens. You must start choosing yourself first every single day. Not once. Not on the days where you feel confident. Every day. Because your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever have. If you don't choose yourself, no one else will. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly prioritized your own happiness? Not in the fleeting way, like indulging in a distraction, but in a deep, meaningful way. When was the last time you put your dreams ahead of someone else's? When was the last time you said no to something that drained you because you knew you deserved better? It's not selfish to put yourself first. It's survival. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you keep giving yourself away, your time, your love, your energy, to people who haven't earned it, you'll eventually have nothing left. Imagine trying to grow a lush, beautiful garden while watering everyone else's plants but neglecting your own. What happens? Your garden withers, your flowers fade, the soil dries up. This is why you need to choose yourself every day. Start seeing yourself as the rare and valuable person you are. Stop treating yourself like you're the backup plan, like you don't matter as much as someone else. You are not a supporting character in someone else's story. You are the main character in your own. The Stoics knew the importance of self-respect. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." What does that mean? It means that fulfillment comes not from others but from within. You don't need someone else to validate you. You need to start valuing yourself. Picture this. Every morning when you wake up, you're faced with a choice. You can keep chasing people who don't see your worth, or you can step back and focus on building your life, your goals, and your happiness. Who do you think will be more drawn to you? The person who constantly seeks validation, or the person who radiates confidence and purpose? Choosing yourself first doesn't mean shutting people out. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing others to dictate your value. It means you set boundaries and protect your peace. It means you walk away from people who take you for granted, because you know you deserve better. Ask yourself this right now. What would happen if, instead of waiting to be chosen, you chose yourself first? Imagine the version of you who wakes up with confidence, who sets clear boundaries, who invests in your own growth, and who radiates an energy that says, "I don't need you to see my worth. I already know it." That version of you exists. You just need to step into it. Let's talk about boundaries. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about teaching them how to treat you. Every time you say, "No, this doesn't work for me," you reinforce your value. Every time you prioritize your own well-being over someone else's expectations, you strengthen your foundation. You might be wondering, what if I lose them by putting myself first? Let me ask you this. Why would you want someone in your life who only stays because you sacrifice yourself? Real love, real respect, they come from people who admire you for your strength, not your willingness to abandon yourself. When you start choosing yourself every day, your energy shifts. You stop feeling desperate. You stop chasing people who don't deserve you. And something magical happens. People who are worthy of you start showing up. Why? Because your energy attracts what you reflect. When you value yourself, others have no choice but to value you too. You don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to chase. You just need to exist in your power. This is the essence of Stoicism, focusing on what you can control. You can't control how others see you, but you can control how you see yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So ask yourself, what thoughts are you choosing today? Are you choosing to believe you're not enough? Or are you choosing to step into your worth? From this moment forward, let it be your truth. You are enough. You are worthy. You deserve to be the priority, not just for others, but for yourself. When you choose yourself, you become magnetic. You no longer need to convince anyone of your value because your confidence speaks for itself. So here's what I want you to do. Choose yourself every day. When you wake up tomorrow morning, ask yourself, what can I do today to honor my worth? Maybe it's pursuing a passion you've neglected. Maybe it's walking away from a toxic relationship. Maybe it's as simple as resting when you need it. But whatever it is, do it with the knowledge that you are choosing yourself because you deserve it. Say it with me now. I choose my worth every single day. I am enough. Write it in the comments. I want you to feel it. I want you to believe it. And if you're ready to step into this power, I want you to like this video and comment number 1 below. Let me know you're claiming your worth, starting right here, right now. And if you want to keep growing and learning how to become the best version of yourself, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This isn't just a video, it's the first step toward becoming someone they can't ignore. Your journey starts now. Choose yourself every single day. 3. Build a life so magnetic they can't stay away. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift? Maybe it wasn't because of what someone said, but because of who they were. Their presence was undeniable, radiant, alive, magnetic. You couldn't help but notice them. That's what it means to have a life so vibrant, so full of purpose, that others are drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Now take a moment and ask yourself, what is the energy you're bringing into the world? Is your life a reflection of your passions, your joy, your growth? Or are you waiting for someone to choose you, to validate you, to give your life meaning? Because here's the truth. If you're living a life that feels empty, uninspired, and stagnant, you can't expect anyone else to see you as the prize. You are not here to wait. You are here to create. People are drawn to others who are whole, people who exude fulfillment, who don't need anyone to feel complete, but who welcome others into their already abundant world. If you want to become someone they can't stay away from, you need to start building a life that feels magnetic from the inside out. And it starts with you. So think about the most captivating people you know. Are they constantly chasing? Are they trying to prove themselves? No, they're busy living. They're building careers, pursuing hobbies, growing as individuals, and experiencing the world with an open heart. They radiate happiness, purpose, and independence. That kind of energy is contagious. It's attractive. And when others see it, they want to be part of it. Here's where most people get stuck. They believe someone else will come along and make their life better. They think a relationship, a person, or someone's attention will fill the void. But the hard truth is this: if you're not fulfilled on your own, you'll never be fulfilled with someone else. Happiness doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. And it's your responsibility to build it. So how do you create a life so magnetic that people can't stay away? You start by pouring into yourself. What dreams have you abandoned because you were too focused on someone else? What hobbies or passions have you neglected because you've been waiting for the right time or the right person? What parts of you feel forgotten, buried under the weight of trying to please others? The time to revive those parts of yourself is now. Start small. Pick up that hobby you used to love. Go back to the gym. Learn a new skill that challenges you. Reconnect with friends who make you laugh until your stomach hurts. Travel, even if it's just to a new part of your city. Try something that makes you uncomfortable, because growth doesn't happen when you stay in your comfort zone. Picture your life as a garden. Right now, is it flourishing? Or is it empty and neglected? If you want people to notice your energy, you have to tend to your garden first. Plant seeds of joy. Nurture your dreams. Cultivate confidence. When your life is blooming with purpose, it becomes irresistible. Others can see it. They can feel it. The philosopher Seneca said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." What does that mean for you? It means that you can't sit back and wait for life to hand you opportunities, happiness, or relationships. You have to prepare yourself. You have to build the life you want so that when the right people come along, they see you as someone they can't afford to lose. Think of it this way. If someone were to step into your life today, what would they see? Would they see a person who's thriving, who's pursuing their passions, and who radiates confidence? Or would they see someone who's stuck, waiting and unfulfilled? You can't fake magnetism. It's not about looking busy or pretending to have it all together. True magnetism comes from within. It comes from the peace and confidence of knowing that your life has meaning, with or without anyone else. And here's something powerful to remember. People are naturally drawn to energy that feels good. When you start focusing on yourself, when you start building a life you're proud of, you'll notice a shift. You won't need to chase anyone, because your presence alone will pull them in. This is where the principles of Stoicism come into play. The Stoics believed in living with purpose, in focusing on what you can control, and in cultivating a strong mind and a strong character. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." What does that mean for you? It means stop chasing what doesn't serve you. Stop believing that someone else will complete you. Instead, invest in building the life you want, on your terms. Here's the secret. When your life feels abundant, you no longer need anyone's attention. And that's when you become truly magnetic. People are drawn to those who are whole, those who are grounded, and those who radiate a sense of purpose. They'll notice the way you carry yourself. They'll admire the way you invest in your dreams. And they'll respect you for building something meaningful, because that kind of energy is rare. So what does building a magnetic life look like? It looks like saying yes to things that excite you and no to things that drain you. Choosing growth over comfort. Reconnecting with your passions and investing in your future. Building meaningful relationships with people who uplift you. Letting go of anyone who doesn't respect your boundaries. Imagine waking up every day and feeling proud of the life you're building. Imagine walking into a room with confidence, knowing that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. That version of you exists. And when you become that version, something incredible happens. People can't help but notice. You stop being an option because you're no longer waiting to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself. So think of it like this: you are the sun. The sun doesn't beg the planets to orbit it. It simply shines. It gives light, it gives warmth, and everything around it gravitates naturally toward its presence. That's what you need to embody. Build a life that feels so good, so full, so alive, that others can't resist being part of it. Not because you need them, but because your energy is irresistible. This isn't about impressing others or chasing approval. It's about becoming the kind of person who inspires everyone around you. When you invest in yourself, you create a ripple effect. You show others what's possible. And the people who are meant to be in your life, they'll show up. They'll stay. Not because you chased them, but because they couldn't imagine walking away from someone like you. So I'll ask you again, what seeds are you planting in your garden? What steps are you taking to create a life that feels magnetic? Because when you start focusing on yourself, when you start pouring your energy into your dreams, your passions, and your happiness, you become the kind of person they can't stay away from. This is your time. Build the life you deserve. Let them see it. Let them feel it. And when they do, they'll realize that you were never an option. You were the only choice all along. 4. Create intrigue. Be the obsession they can't escape. When was the last time someone completely captured your attention? You couldn't figure them out. There was something about them that lingered, something that kept pulling you back to wonder, what's their story? They had an energy, a depth, a mystery that made them unforgettable. Now ask yourself this: are you that person? Or have you become too predictable, too available, too easy to figure out? Because here's the truth. People crave mystery. They're wired to chase what feels just out of reach. If they think they have you all figured out, the intrigue disappears, and so does their interest. Right now, they see you as someone who's always there, someone who's easy to understand. And when something feels too easy, it loses its value. It becomes forgettable. But when you create an air of depth, when you shift into someone who is both present and elusive, you become a puzzle they can't resist solving. This isn't about playing games. It's about becoming someone who carries layers, someone who keeps them wondering. I think about the concept of a beautifully wrapped gift. If someone hands it to you and says, "Here, take it," you might appreciate it, but there's no magic to it. But if you see that same gift sitting on a shelf untouched, unclaimed, wrapped in mystery, you start to wonder, what's inside? What makes it so special? That curiosity, that pull, is what makes the gift irresistible. That's the energy you need to create. So let me ask you, what parts of yourself are you giving away too easily? Are you constantly reaching out, constantly explaining yourself, constantly being too available? Or do they feel like they've already unraveled you? If so, it's time to pull back, not out of spite, but out of strategy. The key to creating intrigue lies in balance. You need to show up just enough to spark their interest, but hold back enough to keep them guessing. It's about presence and elusiveness, being visible without being predictable. Start with small changes. Stop answering messages the moment they come in. Let them wonder what you're up to. Stop oversharing your thoughts, your emotions, or your plans. Instead, allow them to earn that kind of access to you. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about creating moments that make them feel your absence when you're not there. Imagine this: they text you, and instead of your usual instant reply, there's silence. Not because you're playing games, but because you're busy living your life. When you do respond, you're thoughtful, intentional, and engaging, but you're no longer predictable. The Stoics understood the power of restraint. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You don't need to control how they react. You only need to control how you show up. When you pull back and focus on creating depth in your own life, you naturally become someone who intrigues them. And here's the secret: people are fascinated by what they can't fully understand. When you're too predictable, when your every thought and action is on display, they stop wondering about you. But when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you create a sense of mystery and curiosity, you become magnetic. Think of the moments in life that stay with you. They're never the loud, obvious ones, are they? They're the small, subtle moments that leave you wondering, what was that? Why can't I stop thinking about it? That's the kind of impression you want to leave. So, how do you start creating that intrigue? Here are a few principles to follow. Stop over-explaining yourself. Your actions speak louder than words. Let them wonder about you. Be unpredictable. Break patterns. Surprise them. Show up when they don't expect you to, and pull back when they assume you'll stay. Carry yourself with confidence. Confidence is magnetic. When you act like you don't need anyone's approval, people are drawn to you. Protect your energy. Stop giving yourself away to people who haven't earned it. Make them work for your attention. Here's the truth. You don't have to try harder to get someone's attention. You just need to stop giving so much of yourself away for free. When you hold back and allow them to see glimpses of your depth, you create space for curiosity. You become the person they think about when the world grows quiet. And remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about respecting yourself enough to stop chasing and start attracting. The Stoics remind us that we can't control how others see us, but we can control how we show up. When you create mystery and depth, you shift the way they perceive you. You become someone who is no longer an option. You become someone they have to figure out. Picture this. They're sitting alone, and for the first time they're wondering about you. Why haven't you texted? What are you doing? Who are you spending time with? That pull, that curiosity is what changes everything. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer just another option. You're a presence that lingers in their mind long after you've left the room. So I ask you, are you ready to stop giving away your power? Are you ready to become someone they can't ignore? Because this is your moment. It's time to step into that energy and let them feel the shift. If you felt that pull, if this resonates with you, then take this step with me. Like this video and comment number 1 below. Let me know you're ready to stop being predictable and start becoming magnetic. And if you want more insights like this, more tools to help you step into your power, subscribe to this channel right now. This is just the beginning of your transformation. Together we'll keep growing one step at a time. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to prove your worth. You simply need to exist in a way that can't be ignored. And when you do that, they won't just choose you, they won't be able to stop thinking about you. 5. Let your absence demand their attention. Have you ever noticed how much louder silence feels when someone you relied on is no longer there? Maybe it's the quiet hum of a fan that suddenly stops, or the ticking of a clock that fades into nothingness. At first you don't notice it, but then the stillness hits you, and it's impossible to ignore. Now think about this. What happens when you become that silence in someone's life? When your absence becomes so profound, it forces them to stop and notice. Most people underestimate the power of absence. They think the way to win someone's attention is to be present all the time, to keep giving, keep showing up, keep offering themselves on a silver platter. But what happens instead? Their presence starts to blend into the background. They become predictable, easily overlooked, and taken for granted. Here's the truth. People rarely appreciate what's always there. It's human nature. We crave what feels scarce, what feels valuable, what we might lose. This is why absence demands attention. It forces others to confront the gap you leave behind. But let me be clear, this isn't about playing games or punishing someone. It's about stepping back with purpose. It's about respecting yourself enough to create space where you're no longer available on demand. Ask yourself this. How often have you made yourself so accessible that your value diminished? How many times have you bent over backward to fill their life with your presence, only to feel like they were drifting further away? It's frustrating, isn't it? But the answer isn't to give more of yourself, it's to give less. Think about a beautiful painting. If you stare at it every single day, eventually you stop noticing its details. You stop seeing its brilliance. But remove that painting, let the wall sit empty, and suddenly you remember its worth. You remember what it added to the space. That's what happens when you step back. When you remove yourself, your time, your energy, your attention, you allow others to feel your absence. You force them to notice what they've been taking for granted. So what does this look like in practice? It starts with being intentional about where you place your energy. Stop being the person who's always available, always the first to text, always the first to fix things, always chasing after their attention. Instead, focus on yourself. Invest in your own life. Let them wonder what you're doing, where you've gone, and why you're no longer orbiting their world. The Stoic philosopher Lao Tzu said, "When nothing is done, nothing is left undone." This means that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to do nothing at all, to stop explaining, to stop proving, to stop overgiving. When you step back and allow silence to take your place, you create space for them to feel the loss of your presence. You might be thinking, but what if they don't notice? What if my absence doesn't make a difference? Let me challenge that thought. If someone doesn't notice your absence, it only confirms one thing: you've been giving your energy to the wrong person. And that realization, though painful, is a gift. It frees you to stop wasting your time on someone who doesn't deserve it. But for those who do see it, for those who do feel that void, you've shifted the dynamic. Suddenly they're confronted with the reality of what it feels like to lose you. And that feeling lingers. It grows louder. Because your absence isn't empty, it's charged. It speaks to your worth. It says, I am not someone you can take for granted. And here's where it gets even more powerful. In your absence, they're left with themselves. They're forced to reflect on their own behavior, their choices, their neglect. Silence is like a mirror. It reveals what they've been ignoring. It makes them confront the truth. What did I lose? Why did I let this happen? Imagine this. They expect you to be there, texting, calling, showing up. But instead there's silence. Days pass. They check their phone and there's nothing from you. The absence is subtle at first, but it grows. They think about you. They start to miss the conversations, the energy, the way you made them feel. That's the power of stepping back. It's not about anger or revenge. It's about creating space where they can see your value without you having to prove it. It's about showing them that your time, your energy, your presence are privileges, not entitlements. But here's the key. While you're stepping back, you're not waiting. You're not sitting by the phone hoping they'll notice. You're busy building your life, focusing on your passions, and becoming the best version of yourself. You're not retreating, you're growing. And when they finally do notice your absence, they'll realize something profound. You don't need them to feel whole. This is the essence of Stoicism, controlling what you can control and letting go of the rest. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Don't fear stepping back. Don't fear the silence. Fear living a life where you're always chasing people who don't see your worth. Ask yourself this: are you ready to let your absence speak for you? Are you ready to stop filling every space with your presence and start allowing others to feel the weight of your absence? Because when you do, you'll discover something incredible. You'll discover your value. You'll realize that you were never meant to be someone's backup plan or second choice. Let them wonder where you went. Let them feel the silence. Let them ask themselves why they didn't see your worth when you were there. And while they're left with their questions, you'll be out there building a life so full, so vibrant, that they'll realize too late what they lost. This isn't about making them regret losing you. It's about showing them, and yourself, that you were never meant to be overlooked. When you step back with purpose, you teach others a powerful lesson. Your presence is a privilege. Your absence is a reminder, and your value is undeniable. 6. Sculpt your identity like a masterpiece. Have you ever stood in front of a masterpiece? A painting so breathtaking that it commands your attention without a single word, its presence undeniable, its details whispering stories you can't stop thinking about. Now, ask yourself this: are you living like that masterpiece? Or are you blending into the noise, trying too hard to be seen, yet overlooked because you've forgotten to shape yourself into something rare and extraordinary? The truth is this: if you feel like an option in someone's life, it's because you haven't fully stepped into the version of yourself that demands to be a priority. You are not a pebble in the pile, you are a rare gem. But gems aren't created by accident. Masterpieces aren't painted in a single stroke. They are crafted. And you are the sculptor of your life. Right now, you might feel like a block of unshaped marble, hidden under layers of insecurity, self-doubt, and fear of rejection. But as Michelangelo said, every block of stone has a statue inside it, and it is the task of the sculptor to discover it. You are the sculptor, and every decision you make is a strike of the chisel. The question is, what are you sculpting? Are you letting others chip away at your edges, turning you into something unremarkable? Or are you deliberately and patiently carving yourself into someone who is magnetic, undeniable, and impossible to ignore? Here's the harsh truth: people don't chase what they don't fear losing. If you feel like you're always reaching, always proving, always begging for someone to notice you, it's because you haven't yet stepped into your power. You haven't yet become the person they can't afford to lose. So how do you start? By sculpting yourself, by deliberately shaping your identity and refusing to settle for anything less than greatness. First, stop letting others define who you are. Too many people spend their lives trying to fit into molds that weren't made for them. They allow others' opinions, judgments, and expectations to dictate who they become. But let me tell you something. The world doesn't remember the people who fit in. It remembers the ones who stand out. What makes you unique? What passions, skills, or dreams have you buried because you were afraid they wouldn't be enough? Dig them up. Own them. Refine them. Because that's where your power lies, in being unapologetically, authentically yourself. Second, cultivate self-discipline. Sculpting your identity isn't a one-time effort, it's a daily commitment. A masterpiece doesn't happen overnight. It takes deliberate, patient work. And this is where Stoicism comes into play. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." You can't control how others see you, but you can control the work you put into yourself. Start small. Set goals that challenge you. Work on your health, your knowledge, your skills, and your confidence. Every small choice, whether it's choosing to go to the gym, to learn something new, or to protect your boundaries, sharpens your edges. Every moment of discipline is a strike of the chisel, shaping you into someone stronger, sharper, and more radiant. Third, embrace your imperfections. You don't need to be perfect to be a masterpiece. In fact, perfection is overrated. The most captivating works of art are the ones with texture, depth, and uniqueness. People are drawn to authenticity, not to someone who pretends to be flawless. So stop hiding the parts of you that make you real. Your struggles, your growth, your resilience, that's where your power lies. Think about this. A gallery filled with paintings is crowded, overwhelming. But amidst the noise, there's one piece that holds your gaze. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't try to be like the others. It's powerful because it exists with quiet confidence. That's what you need to embody. Stop trying to prove your worth to others. Instead, prove it to yourself. The difference between being an option and being a priority isn't in how much you give to others. It's in how much you invest in yourself. Here's a practical exercise for you. Every day, ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today to shape myself into someone extraordinary? Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you. Maybe it's taking time to focus on your health or your goals. Maybe it's learning a new skill or stepping outside your comfort zone. Whatever it is, do it with intention. You are the sculptor of your life. Every strike of the chisel matters. Every choice, every boundary, every moment of discipline shapes the masterpiece that is you. And here's the secret. When you start seeing yourself as rare, others will too. People don't chase what's ordinary. They chase what's extraordinary. They chase what they fear losing. And when you step into your power, when you become the person you were always meant to be, you no longer need to beg for attention. Your presence will command it. So ask yourself this. Are you ready to stop waiting for someone to see your worth? Are you ready to start carving yourself into someone unforgettable? Because the time for waiting is over. You are not here to be overlooked. You are not here to be an option. You are here to be a masterpiece. Say this with me. I am rare. I am radiant. I am undeniable. Write it down. Feel it. Let it become your truth. If this message struck a chord with you, I want you to take a stand. Like this video and comment number 1 below to let me know you're ready to stop being ordinary and start becoming unforgettable. And if you want more tools, more guidance, and more ways to step into your power, subscribe to this channel, because this is just the beginning. Together, we'll keep refining, keep growing, and keep shaping the masterpiece of your life. You are the sculptor. The block of stone is in front of you. The question is, are you ready to start chiseling? 7. Make every moment with you unforgettable. Think back to the most memorable moments in your life. Maybe it was a quiet conversation where someone really saw you, or a gesture so small yet so thoughtful that it stayed with you for years. It wasn't always something extravagant or loud, was it? It was the feeling, something deeper, something that struck a chord no one else could reach. Now ask yourself, how often are you creating moments like that for others? Do you leave people feeling like they've just experienced something rare, or do your interactions fade into the noise of their busy world? Because if you want to go from being an option to their only choice, you need to make every moment with you unforgettable. People don't remember what you say, and they don't always remember what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. This is your secret weapon. It's not about trying harder or doing more. It's about being intentional, thoughtful, and fully present in every interaction. Most people move through life distracted, disconnected, and half present. They're scrolling on their phones during conversations, nodding their heads without really listening, offering surface-level words with no real weight behind them. But when someone shows up differently, when someone gives their undivided attention, when their words carry depth, when they feel like they're fully there, it stops us in our tracks. You need to become that person, the one who leaves an impression so deep they can't shake it. So how do you make every moment with you unforgettable? Start by being fully present. When you're with someone, whether it's for 5 minutes or 5 hours, be there. Put your phone away. Look into their eyes when they speak. Listen to them like they're the only person in the world at that moment. People are starving for connection, and your presence can be the rare thing that makes them feel truly seen. Ask yourself this: when was the last time someone gave you their full attention? How did it feel? Probably like a gift, didn't it? That's the power you have to give. Next, pay attention to the small things. The details that most people miss. Did they mention a favorite song, a book, or a memory? Did they share something that seems insignificant to anyone else but mattered to them? Those moments are where you leave your mark. Imagine casually bringing up something small they mentioned weeks ago, or showing up with something that reminded you of them. It doesn't have to be big, just thoughtful. That's what makes people stop and think, no one else remembers that. No one else sees me like they do. And that's when you become unforgettable. But let's go deeper. Making moments unforgettable isn't just about kindness or thoughtfulness. It's about creating emotional impact. You see, people crave feelings. They don't hold on to words, they hold on to the way those words made them feel. And the more meaningful those feelings are, the more deeply you'll root yourself in their mind. Ask yourself, what emotions are you creating when you're around them? Do they feel inspired, understood, challenged in the best way? Do they feel seen for who they really are? This is where authenticity becomes your greatest strength. You don't need to perform or pretend to be someone you're not. In fact, it's the opposite. When you're raw, real, and unfiltered, you give others permission to do the same. When you share a part of your story that resonates, when you ask a question that makes them think, when you hold space for their emotions without judgment, you create moments that linger. The philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Most people are craving depth in a world that only offers surface-level connections. You have the power to offer something richer. Be the person who inspires curiosity, who invites meaningful conversations, who creates moments so profound they replay in someone's mind like an echo. Think of it like this: your presence should feel like a melody that stays with them long after the song has ended. Your words should carry weight. Your energy should leave an imprint. This doesn't mean you need to overthink every moment or try to force significance. It's about being intentional. If you're going to spend time with someone, spend it in a way that matters. If you're going to say something, say it with honesty and care. If you're going to show up fully. And sometimes the most powerful moments are the simplest. A shared silence that feels comfortable and alive. A spontaneous laugh that breaks through their walls. A thoughtful question that makes them see something differently. Here's something else to remember. Unpredictability adds to your impact. Predictability makes moments forgettable, while surprise makes them stick. Be someone who challenges expectations in a good way. Be the person who brings depth when they expect small talk, who shows up with thoughtfulness when they expect indifference, who creates meaning when they expect nothing more than the ordinary. Picture this. You've stepped back, you've created space, and now when you're present, you bring something so rare that they can't ignore it. Your time, your energy, your attention, these are gifts. When you give them with intention, you become unforgettable. The next time you interact with someone, ask yourself, how can I make this moment matter? How can I leave them better than I found them? Whether it's through a kind word, a thoughtful question, or simply your undivided presence. Commit to being someone who means something in their life. Because when you live like this, you stop being just another person they've met. You become the standard. You become the one they measure everyone else against. And once you're that person, you'll no longer be an option. They'll realize you're the one they can't afford to lose. This isn't about forcing anything or trying to impress people. It's about showing up with depth, presence, and intention. It's about becoming someone who others can't forget because you offer something that no one else does. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop being a fleeting moment and start being an unforgettable presence? Because when you do, everything changes. 8. Step into your light and stop chasing. Picture this. You're walking through a dark forest at twilight. Everything feels uncertain. Shadows stretch across your path, and the world feels quiet, almost heavy. Suddenly, in the distance, you see it. A small, glowing light. It's subtle but radiant, cutting through the darkness effortlessly. You're drawn to it. You can't help but follow its glow. That light is you, or at least it's who you can become. The question is, are you shining or are you chasing? Too many of us spend our lives running after people, validation, and approval, desperately trying to convince others to see our worth. We dim our light so we can fit into their world, forgetting that we were born to illuminate our own. But here's the truth. You'll never be seen, respected, or valued if you spend all your time chasing others. You don't need to run after anyone. You need to stand still and shine so brightly that they can't help but notice you. Right now, if you feel overlooked, unappreciated, or like you're constantly proving yourself, take a step back and ask yourself, what am I running toward? Why am I chasing someone who doesn't recognize my value? Because the moment you stop chasing, the dynamic shifts. Chasing signals neediness. It tells them that you require their approval to feel whole, and that energy pushes people away. But when you step into your light, when you focus on yourself, your growth, and your happiness, you create a magnetic force that draws people toward you. They don't chase you out of obligation. They come to you because your energy makes them feel alive. Think of the sun. The sun doesn't beg the planets to orbit it. It doesn't shout, chase, or prove its importance. It simply shines powerfully, steadily, and unapologetically. And because of that light, everything around it naturally gravitates toward its warmth. That's the energy you need to embody. So how do you stop chasing and step into your light? Start by recognizing that you don't need anyone else to complete you. You are already enough. This isn't about arrogance, it's about self-assurance. When you know your worth, you stop trying to prove it to others. You stop running after people who don't see you because you realize that the right people will always recognize your light. The next step is to lean into what makes you unique. What are the passions, goals, and values that set your soul on fire? Stop hiding those parts of yourself. Stop dimming your light to fit in. Embrace the things that make you you and let them shine. The more you lean into your authenticity, the more magnetic you become. Think about it. The most captivating people in the world aren't the ones trying to be like everyone else. They're the ones who stand out because they're unapologetically themselves. They don't follow the crowd. They don't wait for permission to shine. They simply exist in a way that feels real and alive, and that energy is impossible to ignore. This is where Stoicism becomes your ally. The Stoics understood the importance of focusing only on what you can control. You can't control how others see you. You can't control whether they choose you, but you can control how you show up in the world. Epictetus once said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." You know your worth. Embrace your uniqueness, and live in a way that reflects the value you already carry. When you step into your light, you stop seeking approval. You stop explaining yourself. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Instead, you own your space, your energy, and your presence. And do you know what happens? The people who are meant for you notice. But it doesn't stop there. To truly step into your light, you need to create a life so full, so rich, that it becomes a world others want to be part of. Pursue your goals relentlessly. Cultivate hobbies that bring you joy. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Build a life that feels so fulfilling that anyone who steps into it feels lucky to be there. When you stop chasing and start shining, you send a powerful message. I don't need you to complete me, but I would love for you to be part of this incredible world I'm building. That's the kind of energy people are drawn to. That's the energy that shifts you from an option to someone they can't ignore. Imagine walking into a room not with desperation, but with quiet confidence. Imagine carrying yourself in a way that says, I know who I am, and I know what I bring to the table. That's what happens when you step into your light. You don't demand attention, you command it effortlessly. Here's the thing. People will always be drawn to the energy that feels alive, rare, and authentic. They don't remember the person who chased them. They remember the person who shone so brightly that they couldn't look away. So, I'll ask you this. Are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to stop shrinking and start shining? Because the moment you decide to step into your light, you stop being an option. You become a presence that lingers in their mind long after you've left the room. Let this be your turning point. Let today be the day you say, no more chasing, no more begging. I will shine in my power, and the right people will notice. Say this with me. I am the light. My energy is magnetic. I am irresistible. And if you're ready to take this step, if you're ready to step into your power and stop settling for less, I want you to take action. Like this video and comment number 1 below to declare that you're done with chasing and ready to shine. And if you want more tools, insights, and inspiration to become the version of yourself you've always known you could be, subscribe to this channel right now. This is just the beginning of your journey, and together we'll keep growing, one step at a time. Remember, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth. You just need to shine. And when you do, they'll realize that losing you is a mistake they can't afford to make. So here we are. The journey has taken you from feeling overlooked and undervalued to recognizing the power you've always held. Each shift we've explored, choosing yourself, creating intrigue, stepping back, and becoming magnetic, has brought you closer to the truth. You are not an option. You are the prize. You are someone they can't afford to lose. But this transformation isn't just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. When you stop chasing, when you create a life that's full, when you step into your light and sculpt yourself into a masterpiece, you change everything. You stop needing others to validate you because you've already validated yourself. Think about what this means for you. Imagine waking up every day feeling confident in who you are and what you bring to the table. Imagine walking into a room with an energy so magnetic that people can't help but notice you. Imagine living a life so rich, so vibrant, so yours that others are naturally drawn to it, not because you begged for their attention, but because your very presence demands it. This is the essence of Stoicism, taking control of your own mind, your own choices, and your own life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. The quality of your life depends on the actions you take." Are you going to keep living as an option, or are you going to claim your power and become unforgettable? The choice is now yours. Will you keep waiting for someone to choose you, or will you decide right here and right now to become someone who is so strong, so radiant, so powerful that you become their only choice? Here's the secret. The power was never in their hands. It has always been in yours. You are enough, you are worthy, and you deserve to be seen, loved, and valued for who you are. Say it with me one last time. I am rare. I am radiant. I am undeniable. Let it become your truth. Let it shape the way you show up in the world. And now I want you to take action. If this video resonated with you, if it lit a fire within you, I want you to like this video and comment number 1 below to claim your power. Let the world know that you're done being overlooked, done being ordinary, and ready to step into the person you were always meant to be. And if you're ready to continue this journey, if you're ready to keep growing, keep learning, and keep refining yourself, subscribe to this channel right now. Together, we'll take this transformation even further, step by step. Your power doesn't lie in what others think of you. It lies in how you see yourself. So stand tall, shine brightly, and let them realize that you were never an option, you were the only choice all along. This is your moment. The masterpiece of your life is waiting. Now go claim it.